Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through. The deadline has passed. What's the latest?
Oh, well, Palisa, we have just spoken to the ANC Secretary General, Isma Khashule, who has just concluded submitting the list to the IEC, obviously ahead of time. He's obviously not the only one. There are a number of other parties, smaller parties, parties like Forum for Service Delivery. We earlier saw the PAC, which I think is still inside, and then we saw COPE, and of course BLF as well is inside. So basically, the deadline has just arrived. Remember, after 5, no one can submit any name. So the ANC, which has been able to speak to us, is basically saying is very happy with what it has done in terms of compiling the list, which it says it combines the youth, the experience, the demographics of the country, and the spread just across the country. And interestingly, Palisa, is that I think as much as they were unwilling to reveal the names of the people there, so they did give us the top 10. And in that top 10, obviously the president of the country, rather of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, leads that, and followed by his deputy. But also interesting is that Ms. Mzwandile Mbeje is number 10 on that list. So she's part of the top 10 of the list of the number of the names that have been submitted to the IEC. So basically that's where we are now. And earlier, Palisa, we were able to speak to the SG of the ANC before he walked in, where these questions were really posed to him to say some of the names really of people who are either implicated or in wrongdoing of one way or the other. So if their names are there, he basically said, I mean, if the court of law hasn't found any of those guilty, just the accusation of mere wrongdoing cannot preclude them from being on the list. So basically confirming that people like Mzwandile Mbeje, Mzwandile, and of course, as I've said, Mbeje have made the list.
Now, remind us, what will happen to parties who had indicated their intentions to contest the elections and failed to really meet this deadline?
Palisa, it's quite simple. And missing this deadline basically means you are not contesting the 2019 general elections that is coming up on the 8th of May. So the intention for you to really contest this election is for you to be able to fulfill all the guidelines. I can just remind the listeners that if you want to contest for the national parliament, you have to pay a deposit of 200,000. But if you want to contest also the 9 provinces, so it's 45,000 rand each. So what it basically means is that it takes the whole amount to about 600, to just over 600,000. But this is important again, Palisa. So if a party is able to win a seat, then it gets refunded, that money. It's different with those who are not able to win a seat. So then that money obviously gets forfeited or just goes to national revenue.
All right, Mzwandile, we'll leave it at that. We'll touch base with you a little later on here on the channel just to hear as to how many political parties were able to meet this deadline. Our senior reporter there, Mzwandile Mbeje, live from the IEC offices in Pretoria.